You know, when you two Chris have other side opinions, many of them might actually see them when they actually watch them. You got their surprisements, they got their underrateds, and we have our disappointments.
What the fuck?
There were some movies that could actually believe they could be a huge, great, and even a great surprise man. Until when you saw them, they could be a letdown. And by that I mean huge, huge letdown of disappointment. And when you keep thinking of it, you can actually see them as mediocre or just, bad or terrible by reason. And by that I meant some other movies that could actually be a huge letdown by, by your opinions. You could say the Emoji Movie is a pretty obvious movie that could be on number one, but it was just, too obvious. I mean, I could agree, but it's too obvious. I met some other movies besides the Emoji Movie, which I could agree that movie was a disappointment, but, some of them more huge, big disappointments. And you know what's going on. I'm Joseph Miley, and this is the top 10 most disappointing movies I ever seen. Number 10.
Well, this was a disappointment.
Before I start this list, I just had to remind y'all a few questions. This is only based on my opinions. The movies that I put on this list are just based on my opinions. By that, I actually think of them by mediocre to bad to just terrible. So if you actually disagree on my list, I can hand y'all opinion. But if you do agree with my list, then that's actually good. So, without further ado, let's just start off with number 10. The huge letdown, The Good Dinosaur. Pixar made some incredible masterpieces like Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Inside Out, and more. But man, with The Good Dinosaurs though, this is out one of my weakest Pixar movies. I mean, Cars 2 was fine though, but with The Good Dinosaurs though, yeah, this was honestly the mediocrest one. At least Brave is actually better than this movie. With The Good Dinosaurs though, let's just say if you take The Lion King and The Land of Our Time, if you mix up these movies, you get this. The Good Dinosaur is a big major problem, but I do have some little bit positive for this movie. The animation looks nice. Sometimes it could be a little hard feel sometimes. And I guess Spot is a good character, I'll just say that. Other than that, this movie was just boring and bland. I mean, the story is literally just the Lion King ripoff, and then the Land Before Time ripoff. And sometimes the Cruise ripoff, if you take that The Good Dinosaurs ripoff from the Cruise. And the characters though, boy, let's talk about Arlo. If you know this by far, you should know that Arlo is literally a fraidy cat. I mean, literally, even though things that he tries to do by getting that mark, he fails so badly. There was this one time when he was actually trying to impress his pop by catching a critter, even though his pop wanted him to do it. And what did he do instead?
What are you doing? Just leave! Leave! Stay back! Go!
Yeah, that. As for Arlo's father, well, I wouldn't say he's not the worst father, unlike Chicken Little's father, but man, he's just awful as well. He's literally a Mufasa ripoff, only he tricks his son try to get over his fear, try to be brave like him. And there was this one time when he dragged him to actually finish him to get that mark and get that critter. Or whatever, that added him to get like this. And absolutely Mufasa's death ripoff. Other characters like Arlo's mother, sister, brother, the T-Rexes, that Tegosaur, whatever it is that they just met, they're bland as well. The Good Dinosaur may not be the worst. It's just a mediocre dino movie at best. Number 9.
Well, this was a disappointment.
The live action's Pinocchio. I literally did not expect this movie to be in my list, but instead it literally just did. With the original Pinocchio, I actually enjoyed this movie. This movie was a huge part of my childhood. With the live action Pinocchio, I was really excited for this movie when it came out on Disney+. But however, it turned out to be a huge disappointment. But I would say it's not a bad movie, it's just literally just mediocre. How I know this? Well, don't look at me. Blame the Rotten Tomatoes and the audience score. I would say it's not that bad, it's just mediocre, but with problems with this, it could be a lot worse than it thought it would be. But hey, I still watch this movie in Disney Plus, so let's just say whatever. But there are some characters that actually look great. And it's actually way better than the Dumbo remake and the Alice in the Wonderland remake. And let's not forget the Mulan remake where I don't know Mushu. So yeah, Pinocchio was literally not really interesting but the live action one. Yeah, the live action one. Because the original one was a classic. And not to mention about this scene.
You might want to check what I look like to you.
The live action Pinocchio may not be the greatest, but the wooden boy disappointed me.
Oh, what's happening, Jiminy?
Looks like some sort of fairy magic. Kinda on the nose, if you ask me.
Number 8.
Well, this was a disappointment.
The Star. Normally, this could have been an amazing movie with Mary and Joseph, the stars of this whole movie, where Jesus is born and all that stuff. But instead that we have a twerking bird. Normally, Sony would have a huge redemption after making that awful Emoji Movie. This movie could have been actually enjoyable, but with all these annoying animals ruining it, and the talking donkey, it's just literally just very bland. But I would say it's not a bad movie, with the Good Dinosaurs and the live action Pinocchio movie. This movie is just mediocre, but man, this movie was a huge letdown with Sony. I mean, consider how this movie is literally not worse than the Emoji Movie. Oh, no. This movie was too boring. This movie could have been about Mary and Joseph. How they even know about, they go on this incredible adventure. The way how Jesus was born. But we have useless animals that literally just ruin the movie. But I still have some positives for this movie. Some of the songs look interesting. And the ending was actually kind of nice. But other than that, this movie was boring. The donkey was bland. The bird was bland with that stupid twerky thing. The sheep was annoying. And these obnoxious camels, they're just, wow. The only best characters that if I had to know are Mary and Joseph. I mean, duh. Who could have known that? I don't know what else do I have to say about this movie, considering that they have a predictable story and the script was wrong and bland characters. But at the Star, maybe this movie's not worse than the Emoji Movie. But in other that, this movie was bland and a huge letdown, if I have to say so. As Joseph himself said it best,
there's something seriously wrong with those animals.
Number 7.
Well, this was a disappointment.
Scoob. Now the top 7 ones are the bad ones. My problem with Scoob? Well, much of everybody knows about this movie. A big Scooby-Dooby disappointment. I mean, seriously. I actually thought it was actually gonna be a huge redemption by making that awful live action Scooby-Doo. But instead of that, they decided to make Scooby-Doo even worse by making him and Shaggy go on this crazy adventure with this bumbling idiot. This could have been a huge origin story, but instead of that, they didn't have to decide to use this one. What the story is actually, bad. Animation's good, and the characters, well, the characters that you all know and love were just basically ruined, And there's basically some other stuff that could actually, the writing's just lame. And do I have a least favorite character? Well, isn't it pretty obvious?
Friends call me Dick. Okay, Rick. No, I'm not a Rick. I'm a Dick with a D. Rick with a D. Dick. Rick. Dick.
Can you shut the fuck up?
Use this main villain from the Wacky Racers as this main villain from crossover at Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Wow, great job. I can handle your opinion if you like this movie, if you actually think that this movie was underrated, but to my actual opinion, it was nothing but a Scooby-Dooby disappointment.
He's been stealing Netflix by using his mother's account.
That is not fair for the rest of us who have to pay for Netflix.
You have to pay for Netflix?
Number 6.
Well, this was a disappointment.
Tom and Jerry the movie. I was honestly expecting this movie to have a huge redemption after that 1992 movie where Tom and Jerry was talking. This is not Tom and Jerry. It's just about a girl named Kayla who is actually trying to do her best job at this hotel. And Tom and Jerry are ruining it.
So, we've got a big problem.
The story is honestly really stupid with the bland human characters just ruin Tom and Jerry's movie. And I have some big positives for this movie. Even though it's bad, I actually enjoy how bad this movie is. Like, obviously, Tom and Jerry are the best characters of this movie, where I actually have fun time actually seeing them in this. But in the other cases, that's just actually it. With this movie, it's just literally not funny. I mean, the story, I just said it was bad. The animation, not only on Tom and Jerry, but the other animals are just outdated. And the characters, well, obviously, the Tom and Jerry are the best characters. As for other characters, they're just, boring. Kayla and that character who played in the Ant-Man movies, he's boring as well. And I can't even explain about the other rest. Even though they have even some other stuff, but this movie's just And with all that whole humor and the pop culture references, it's not even that funny, man. It's not funny. Also, they even have a floss on this movie as well. I'm not playing. Check this out.
Are you sure? More Hanover,
Plus, this movie is not even fun. I mean, no offense, but it's true. No wonder why Animac gave this movie the Animac still a garbage. Even Space Jam: A New Legacy is even more fun than this movie. Tom and Jerry, not even the most disappointing movie of the Warner Bros. Animation Group, but honestly, the most disappointing movie of 2021. Number 5.
Well, this was a disappointment.
Jurassic World 3. You saw this when I actually put this on my top 5 worst movies of 2022. I can tell you reasons why. When me and my dad watched this movie in the cinemas, I accidentally fell asleep all over this movie. I don't know, this movie was just boring. When it comes to the Jurassic World movies, the first one was actually great. Second one was good, but not even closest to the first one. Third movie though, it was boring. I mean, seriously, this one was just a happily waste of time. The whole thing, the plot of this, I don't even remember anything about this movie. That's why I'm gonna do this quick, consider I'll only watch this movie one time and that's it, and at the cinemas. it was just too boring. And let's not forget, Blue was literally barely in this movie. Yeah, she was barely in this movie. She could have come with adventures with the hunter, dinosaur hunter, and help her save her daughter. This movie was just a dino disappointment. That's all I have to say. I don't have nothing to explain about this movie.
Come back.
I always come back.
Number 4.
Well, this was a disappointment.
Planes. From above the world of cars, you get this boring garbage. I mean, normally it could have been actually impressive to see a spin-off of Cars, though. But man, Planes was boring as heck. I mean, literally, it was just boring and bland. I mean, the animation was good, I know. But all of that, Planes was, I don't know, just basically a rip-off of Cars. But I think Turbo was worse than this movie. I don't know, there's other stuff that I have to say about this movie, but literally ain't, because Planes is just not interesting. With a boring story, which is rip off of Cars, characters, if you didn't know, rip off of Cars, the writing the script, it's literally a rip off of Cars, you know? I don't even know if Planes is an interesting movie, but good thing that this movie flopped in the box office. This movie deserves it. And it has a sequel for no reason, which it's better, but pretty mediocre. Planes is honestly very boring. It's very dumb, stupid, and you know what? I'd rather look at Mater anyway to stay away from this movie.
I owe you my life.
Are you crying?
I don't cry, I'm British.
Number 3,
Well, this was a disappointment.
A Christmas Story.
Number damn nipple, bang gunk stinking Chris. Did you hear what he said?
I have since heard of people under extreme duress speaking in strange tongues. I became conscious that a steady torrent of obscenities and swearing of all kinds was pouring out of me as I screamed.
I did not expect this movie to actually disappoint me in the bag. A Christmas Story is actually, without a doubt, the second most disappointing Christmas movie I ever seen. Normally, it could have been a nice Christmas movie, but instead of that, we had to use some mean-spirit things, swearing, and all that stuff. And literally, everything about this movie has, well, a lot of problems. And there's obviously some problem scenes. There was a scene where the boy's tongue was stuck on the pole and they tried to actually do something, but what did they do instead? They just left him with his tongue stuck on the pole, and they didn't even try to call the teacher or nothing. No, they just left him. Wow, just wow, I was disappointed. And then there's another scene when Ralphie says,
Oh, fudge.
but his father actually thought that he said a real F word. And what did they do instead? Putting a soap on his mouth by saying these awful words. Worst of all, the most disturbing thing, when Ralphie finally faced off on that bully by beating him up. But literally, he beat him up so badly, his nose started bleeding. And man, wow, that was actually dark. Also, the most stupidest scene, when Ralphie finally got a gun for Christmas, unfortunately, it shot him in the eye and broke his glasses. Why did he even want a gun in the first place? I have literally nothing to say about this movie. I mean, if you want to watch a better Christmas movie other than this, go watch Home Alone, or Elf, or heck, even the Charlie Brown Christmas special. Those movies are actually way better than this crap will ever be. That's all I had to explain. Next one. Number 2.
Well, this was a disappointment.
Daddy's Home 2. Do I really have to explain why it's on the list?
Dad!
My big man! I'm feeling nauseous. I think I got altitude sickness. Hey, Brian, you want a pukesicle?
I would love a pukesicle.
Well, here we are. The number one most disappointing movie I ever seen. The one movie that honestly cringed me off when I first watched that movie. And to be honest, I don't even know that y'all will recognize it, but literally it is. So without further ado, number one.
Well, this was a disappointment.
Well, the number one most disappointing movie I ever seen is...
The jester isn't horrible. He's the most generous jester who ever lived. Oh, hail the jester!
Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return. Now guys, I really did not expect this movie to be at number one. I really did not expect this movie to be at it. It literally just ruined the whole thing that made The Wizard of Oz so great. Such a masterpiece, even more popular. But with this movie, it's just the most hugest disappointment even at the other movies that were also at my list. But Legend of Oz, Dorothy's Return is honestly really disappointed that it flopped at the box office because it sucked. And even though this movie was honestly the worst animated movie of 2014, even worse than Nutjob? Okay, even though Nutjob sucked, but at least it was, I don't know, at least funny. But as for this movie, it was just, wow. How bad can this be? It ruined the real Wizard of Oz and makes this movie even worse with a stupid story, lazy animation, dumb and bland characters. I mean, what else can you even think of about this movie? If you even saw this movie, which I never really saw this movie at first, the only thing how I even remember this movie is...
I don't speak monkey.
But when I finally watched this movie on demand... No, wait, not on demand. I mean at Amazon Prime, which is already deleted. It was... Oh my god, it was bad. I mean, literally. It just literally takes forever to make this movie even make it good. And this... Wait, hold on. Let me go back to the story. Do you know what remember about the story? Well, how do you even remember the story from this movie? Weird. Oh, I know! That story where Dorothy and Toto 2 was trying to go on this adventure to try and save their friends. Huge ripoff of Hoodwink 2, which is also a bad movie. And the Jester. Oh, the Jester. Let's just say he's a weak villain. I mean, come on. His jokes is not even funny as well. I mean, come on, look.
I know. Hard to take me seriously. It's my curse. Literally. I can't take this off ever.
Why did they even allow Martin Short to play this character? Even by the other new characters that were also bland and forgettable, like that Fat Owl, that Marshmallow guy, and that glass girl thing I don't even know. But even after all of that, oh yeah, I did not forget about the songs. Only by the songs, wow. I can't even tell which is worst. But literally every song that I could rank them by verse to verse. By Assessa, by regular as least, as likely best. To absolute worst, like that Candy song. Oh yeah, one more thing I forgot to mention. This movie is honestly terrifying to watch. Like that puppet Glinda scene that I just showed y'all. This movie is also terrifying to watch. If any of you guys are like me, I agree with Animat. I would rather go and stick and watch the original Wizard of Oz. And even the Return of Oz is actually, I don't know, at least good. At least this movie is honestly way better than this crap. Legend of Oz is nothing but a disappointment, waste of time, with a dumb story, lazy animation, stupid and bland characters, and not only that, but the #1 most disappointing movie of all time.
There, it's all finished. I think we should call it Tug.
Hey, I like that. Climb aboard, everybody.
Nope, 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 never again. Nah, nope, no thanks, thank you, nope.
Well, that was my list. Tell me what you think about my list. Did you like it or did you hate it? Well, like and comment, share, subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.
Well, this was a disappointment.